He said with the papers right there. He said, let's cover up the D. Let's cover up the D. And let them see the E. He said, if you look at that E right there. He said, you don't need that E right there. He said, because that E is delivered. I said, but Lord, I need the E. He said, you don't need that E. He said, do know this, that this E right here is going to remind us how the Lord delivered us from evil. He said, but right now, you don't need the E. So cover that E up right now. He said, but let's move on down to the R. This R right here, he said, you don't even need that R. I said, Lord, but I need that R. He said, no, you don't. He said, because the R, you need to take it away. He said, but I said, but Lord, uncover the R for a minute. Uncover it. I said, Lord, but I need the R right there. He said, no, you don't. I said, Lord, I said, that R will remind me how I am the righteous of God and how I'm waiting on the rapture, because at the sound of any moment, the trump shall sound and the dead in Christ shall rise first. And those who are alive and remain in the faith shall be caught up with the Lord and shall meet him in the air, and forever will we be with the Lord. I said, okay, Lord. He said, but you don't need it right now. He said, cover up that R. So I covered up the R. And then we move on down to the E. The last E. He said, there's too many E's in that word delivered. All you need is one E. He said, and that E right there will remind you that I am the eternal God. And you have been delivered. And I'm giving you everlasting life. If you believe, he said, I'm giving you everlasting life. But you've got to hold on to God. We've got to hold on and wait until we get our glorified bodies. He said we must hold on, because when we receive our immortal bodies, we're going to the new city of Jerusalem. He said there'll be no more time. There'll be no more crying. There'll be no more sickness. There'll be no more pain. There'll be no more hearts. There'll be no more headaches. There'll be no more stress. There'll be no more money problems. There'll be no more credit cards. There'll be no more hatred. There'll be no more stress. There'll be no more race. There'll be no more getting up going to that government job. You've got to hold on and wait till you receive your glorified body. So I'm talking about glorification, and that is an aspect of salvation. Or somebody said, we've got to be delivered. And now we're at the last D. I said, we're at the last D. And that D right there, that D, he said, will remind you that you've been delivered from doom. You've been delivered from destruction. He said, that's just a reminder. But you don't need that D right now. Cover up that D, sister. And what do you have right there? You have the word live. Oh, I've been delivered to live. Oh, I've been delivered to live. I said, I've been delivered to live. Somebody said, I've been delivered. I've been delivered. I've been delivered. You see, after I'm delivered, after he saved us, we've got to walk in the is the day of deliverance. Somebody shout deliver to live.